Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of the O's Talk. Continuing with our Taiko World Cup coverage, we've kind of been having a Taiko themed month. We're actually interviewing the German captain for the Taiko World Cup 2015, Luna. How you doing today?
I'm fine, thanks for having me.
Not a problem. And we're also joined with one of the commentators and my co-host here, Deadbeat.
Hello.
And we also have Charles with us today, which is actually a pleasant surprise. How you doing, Charles?
Whoa, hey guys.
All right. We won't keep you guys too long today. We're actually going to just go through the basics here. Our first question we actually have is, what got you interested in OS and what got you started in the game?
Well, there's actually kind of a somewhat longish story about that. Since the first time I heard about OS was, I believe, in late 2008 or something, when some real-life friends just showed me the game, and I tried it out at their place. I didn't really like it back then, and looking back, I can understand why. It was probably some really bad unranked beat maps I played or something. So for a while I just forgot about the game, and the only exposure I'd get to the game was sometimes watching random videos of people just mindlessly mashing through like the old Marisa Still the Precious Thing map by DJ Pop, stuff like that. So I'd still have this impression that it's not really a skill-based game, and that most people were just button mashing. But then one day, was late 2010, I randomly stumbled upon a video by Mafia Master, who back then was one of the best players in the game, and he still holds up, I believe. It was a video of him playing one of his own new ranked maps, like Hinarin's Relation of Misfortune it was, and that was such an impressive play to me because, as I mentioned, all I'd seen about us was people button mashing on stupid maps, and suddenly there was this really skillful play, and it impressed me so much that I decided to join and actually try it out myself. And by today's standards, the play is no longer anything really too special. I believe the map is around 4.7 stars or 4.8 stars, something like that. So not too hard, but it really got me fascinated, and then I joined the game, and I'm still here.
You see, that's interesting. You said that you felt like before it was kind of a button mash frenzy with the older maps, and I kind of feel like, I'm not gonna straight up call that out and say that that's what it is, but I kind of feel like some of the newer maps, and I found this pretty apparent because I'm really a stickler when it comes to playing a map. If I miss a couple circles, I'll quit and restart. You know, I like to be perfective. And I always had problems with these new slider jump things until I realized you literally can just mash the almighty out of them and you got a full 300 combo on that. And it doesn't really take as much skill to hit that. But what has improved more is the mouse movement over the time. But I think back in the day was when you had to be more accurate with your beats and patterns. Now it's more pinpoint aiming, but that's just my opinion on it.
Yeah, basically, what it ended up being is that back then, the idea was that circles would follow the beats, and that's all that was necessary. They didn't have to be placed in a tidy fashion, they just had to be there. And so when you had these maps like DJ Pop and occasionally Sprosive, they would create these maps that were extremely tightly spaced circles that matched the beat perfectly. And these were incredibly hard to read, but in practice, if you spent the time to time your keys correctly, they were not difficult. And the problem, and the reason people button mashed them so much, is because it was extremely hard to read. People didn't know when to hit, so they just mashed the keys as they moved their mouse along the way.
Well, to be fair, I did not specifically look for OS back then, of course, and pretty much all the maps I was seeing was by people new to the game, playing maps like Marisa Still the Precious Thing and the Ronald McDonald map, stuff like that. So, of course, this is not the average maps back then. It was like people mashing through with like 50-60% accuracy.
Hey,
so
man.
that's why I got this impression of a
That still
dumb
happens
game.
today.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
about
it's still
to say.
happening today, but back then that was like all the exposure I got. And then this one play by Mafia Master was the first actual skillful play I saw. And I couldn't believe there actually were people who were good at this game, who played to the rhythm, and it actually was more than just button mashing without any kind of deeper meaning. And so yeah, nowadays I realize that most of these maps, like My Sister the Precious Thing and stuff like that, is absolutely playable once you're good enough. But back then I thought it was like this impossible stuff that people just played because they wanted to mash buttons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So I think Deadbeat should get question 2, and I'd like to do 3. So go for it, Deadbeat.
Just for that, I like the idea of new people coming into the game and then playing these like really hard out maps. It just seems like a really bad idea.
Well,
yeah, that still happens even today, man. Like you see the new people, and it's either Airman or some people still play Unlimitation or whatever it's called, and
Unlimitation, boo.
yeah. What's that other one that's really crazy by Tadish?
Tetch, that's an artist.
Yeah, I know. I'm talking about by
Image Material, that one. That,
Yeah, there we go.
jeez.
That thing is brutal.
That thing took a while to get ranked. That's a story for another day. Anyway,
Yeah.
so Deadbeat, go.
Have you played any other rhythm games aside from us?
Actually, I really haven't. Also, it's my very first rhythm game. It's still pretty much the only one I play. I tried getting into Stepmania once, but it was like all bugged out and nobody could really help me, so I lost motivation. And for my 4-key gameplay, I basically just stick with Osmania. There's some rhythm games I really want to play, but they're not available in Germany, like Jubeat, because Germany has no arcades at all. Yeah, I hope I'll be able to play that someday. But
I might
it's
be able
not
to
so far.
help you with that actually, because Jubeat actually got a iOS release under a different name. It's called Jukebeat. And it's got all the good Jubeat songs on there. You get all kinds of awesome packs. I'm not trying to plug Jubeat or anything, but
No, it's just it's a thing that exists.
yeah, it definitely is. Because I felt your pain as well. I saw videos on that and I wanted to play it
That's
really,
funny.
really bad.
I found out, tried it out, and I realized I don't like Jubeat. It was a revelation. It was like, wow, I hate this.
I haven't actually tried it before, to be honest.
Oh, it's good fun. It is
It's
good
AR
fun.
10.2 or something. It's stupid.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
really?
I don't know.
Uh,
It's really fast.
Wait.
Like flop. And the crazy thing is, I'm bad at those. Like I'll be honest, I'm okay, but
Yeah, Mr. Rank 300.
But Jubeat, like, I think I was even showing screenshots because Decoon was the one that actually showed it to me way back on the iPhone store. He's like, hey man, you could actually get this. And I went nuts with it. I bought all the sound packs and everything. But I could full combo, like Flower and all the really hard songs. Evans, I could do that. And it's so much easier than OS, in my opinion. But that's just because you could slide. You could slide and hit all those. It's fantastic.
Actually, I do have a question. Luna, do you have an iOS device?
I wish I had the money for one. Right now, I actually still do not even have any kind of smartphone or anything.
Oh, no,
I
no,
have
no, you don't
some
understand.
old flip phone, and
We're
I
in
do
the
not
same
have the money
boat.
for anything.
I use a boxed Nokia phone. We're on the same page here.
Great.
Yeah. If you ever do get your hands on an iOS device, for you, I would recommend O2 Jam U, because Meme makes songs on there and he's cool, and it has 4-key support, so you can learn, like, you can bring your 4-key skills to that immediately. It transfers over really well.
And if
Yeah, check it out.
Right.
And if you want an accuracy fest,
Oh
you
my
could always
God.
just try out OStream because its OD is like 12. So
How
if
mad?
you don't,
How mad would Peppy get if I made fun of one of the mappers on the game?
well,
I'm just
depends
kidding.
on, like-
I'm not going to. Let's continue.
yeah. But those are really good though. But in terms of like getting the Jubeat experience, an arcade cabinet's like $1,200. So I think that'd probably come up to like I don't know. I want to roughly say like maybe €1,000. But that's a whole lot of money just for one game when you could just get the Apple device for relatively a lot cheaper, but you don't get the arcade experience. But anyway,
I definitely am planning on vacationing in Japan or something somewhat soon once I have the money, and definitely gonna play a lot of rhythm games.
Yeah,
there.
you're going to actually get to play Taiko no Taijutsu, the real deal.
I'm so looking forward to
that's
that.
exciting.
I really do want to play it with drum controller, but I do not have one myself.
It's very rough. It's hard. All right.
I can believe that.
Oh yeah. All right. So I want to talk about, because to move on, you're talking about how your first experience with OS was just people mashing keys. What got you into playing Taiko, a game about mashing keys?
Actually, back in the day, when I first joined, like late 2010, I believe, I still thought Taiko was like this kind of stupid game. This happens a lot. I do not think very highly of a game, and then later on I get obsessed with it. So back then it was just most ranked maps in Taiko were Oni. Like, there were no easier maps pretty much, because the ranking criteria did not require any easy maps.
If I recall, it was based on the fact that the easy generation did a good enough job.
Well, the converted maps have always been terrible, but that was pretty much the reason, because back then the administration of the game did not think that was a big deal. But actually, I pretty much just learned Taiko by playing some of the easier Onis until I somehow got it after hundreds of tries. It did work out quite well. Yeah, actually, there's two maps that I credit with being the most influential maps for my basic education in terms of Taiko. Both are Lepidon maps. One would be September Satellites, and the other one would be Fallen Angel. And I've played both of those maps like 111 times each, exactly. And one of those two I did not even full combo. But yeah, those are two scores I never override just because of the sentimental value they hold.
They're the crowning achievement. The
Yeah,
stepping
they were
up the game.
very first Taiko scores, pretty much. Like,
Nice.
it took me, I believe, 60 tries to even pass Fallen Angel for the very first time, and then after 111 tries I had one full combo. But it felt so good. It was late 2011 that happened, I believe. So old.
So it all kind of took off from there.
Yeah, I do not even know why I ever picked up Taiko, because back then I really thought it was kind of a stupid game mode. But I did, and then it kind of was addicting, and then I quit OS Standard for it, pretty much. I still came back to the Standard mode later, and I played the other modes as well. But for a while I was exclusively a Taiko player.
Have you ever tried to play Taiko with anything other than the keyboard?
Well, I wish I had a drum controller, but I do not. I know that the Tatacon controllers that you could use on a PC do have quite a lot of latency, but there's actually a thread in the in the development support, I believe, by someone who is making a cool adapter for the Wii Tatacon to USB that's apparently quite lagless. So I'm looking forward to that. If I ever have the money to import a Tatacon, which would probably cost me at least $100 or something, and get one of those adapters, I'm sure I'll try it out.
Actually, on that note, I do want to recommend you avoid a product. Over in the US, I think they released Taiko as like Taiko Beatmaster or something.
Oh no!
And
Don't bring that up.
They came with these PS2 Taiko drums, and I picked one up
They're
because
so
I
bad.
wanted to play, and they are the worst controllers ever. They don't register your hits. They're
They
I
register-
heard about that, yeah.
They register on the PlayStation 2 game, but they don't register, like if you try to use like your PS2 to USB, because I have one of those that I use for
Doesn't
like
work.
I play. It doesn't work. It's something with the sensitivity. But with those things, I kind of brought this up when we actually interviewed Nashman as well. Something that you can use that actually doesn't have a lot of lag at all. It is kind of hard to set up though, because someone did try it after I suggested it, and they couldn't figure out how to get it to a way they felt was natural. But you can use the Rock Band. Now, specifically, you want to use the Xbox 360 Rock Band drum set, because when you plug that in, it acts as a Games for Windows Live controller. So it basically, latency is like non-existent on it.
Magic of X input.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll have to see if any one of my friends owns something like that. So
You guys are
test it out.
never gonna play Rock Band again? Could I have your controller?
Totally.
Rock Band 4 announced. Oh no. Anyway.
So, moving on with that.
I want to steal this one.
Okay, go for it.
Because I don't like the way it's worded. Do you play default style with Dawn's inner and Cat's outer, or do you play both on each hand, Dawn's and Cat's?
I do play the authentic style, and well, there's still a difference between the authentic styles, because there's a lot of different ways how to actually hit the notes with the style. But I'm a single tapper for anything that's slow, and I full alternate on streams. There's people who like weird alternate. It's some kind of weird play style where you're just playing however you want. But the full alternate play style is a style where on every single note you switch the hand with which you hit the keys. So even simple patterns like KDDK suddenly become more complicated, because if you start on the right hand with the first K, then left D, right D, left K, so you use all the 4 keys for a pattern that most people would just play with 3 keys. And so that's pretty confusing, but it's actually the superior playstyle once you get used to it, because it allows for much more speed and stamina.
And kind of just to follow up on that right away, so have you been using that since you started, or is that something you've been recently like working towards? And would you say that playing it in that specific way has affected your gameplay experience, or is it just what you prefer to do?
Well, when I first started out playing Taiko, I actually tried out a lot of things. I did try color split, so blue on one hand, red on the other, and so on. I did try weird styles like DK, so some kind of weird asymmetrics playstyle, but in the end I just stuck with the authentic one. And from the beginning I did alternate on streams. I've always done that, but recently I've been trying to pick up full alternate, which means alternating on absolutely every single note throughout the whole map. Right now my main playstyle is still a single tapping slow stuff and then just full alternating the streams, but I'm working on alternating every single note throughout everything, no matter how slow. And it's really hard, because I've got to get rid of a lot of habits that I've developed. But I believe once I'm able to actually play up to the level I'm at now, it's by far the superior playstyle, since it's the only playstyle you can really use to play like way above 300 BPM. It's possible to play 300 BPM with a single tap style, but it's really difficult. But beyond that, you really need full alternate.
What would you class as like a slow map?
Well, there's lots of maps like low BPM, like 100 BPM. Pretty much everyone can single tap that, because even the streams are just 200 BPM single taps. And in Taiko you do not have to worry about aiming, so you can keep full concentration on just single tapping, so it's easier to achieve higher speeds. But that also applies to like really slow beats within a song. So even if the map is high BPM, sometimes the speed just one single beat per bar or something. It's really slow. But well, I'm working on fully alternating even that, just to get all these things into my brain and force myself to really do it correct this way.
And something you said right there was actually kind of interesting, and I want to pull back on that for a second. Now, it does go over to standard, but you said that you don't have to worry about aiming in Taiko, so it makes single tapping a lot easier because you can concentrate on it. And I kind of like the line you were going at, how you said you had to reteach yourself, because I've been recently trying to full alternate with, just standard. And that, for me, has been incredibly hard, as I've gotten so used to, single tapping and doing stuff. And I actually seem to have more problems aiming with full alternating, because I'm so used to, moving my cursor to where it needs to be, then hitting the key, and then, continuing that on until you get to a stream, and that's where you have a smooth movement with, you just mash the keys. So, my kind of question there is, like, would you say that alternation on standard is easier or harder than it would be to try to learn with Taiko?
I actually used to be a alternate player in standard as well. I recently switched to single tap just because it's the superior accuracy playstyle and because I just wanted to try out something new. But I believe it pretty much just depends on how you started out. If you started out as a alternate player, like I did in standard, that's gonna be easier for you. If you started out single tapping, that's gonna be easier for you. Both playstyles have their ups and downs. For example, single tapping is way harder on 1/3 snap maps, because during streams your dominant finger no longer lands on every single downbeat, and that can be really confusing for a lot of people. But then again, aiming, I believe, is easier with single tapping, because you can be a lot more consistent, which is also why accuracy is a lot easier with single tapping. But both styles are completely viable, and there's some maps that just require you to fully alternate in standard because the BPM is way too high. Most of them aren't ranked. I actually do not know if there are any ranked maps that really require full alternate, since even maps like Scarlet Rose can be single tapped if you're really good at it. But yeah, it's just a matter of preference, I'd say.
Actually, speaking of alternating, and I want to say because I pure alternate on standard, and very rarely do I not. I want to say that I believe, and I think this has to go with Taiko as well, that if you map really weird rhythms, I feel like it kind of forces you to learn alternating as you're testing out the maps, and it might be the same for Taiko, because I know a lot of the higher up Taiko people who, map, like I think Mitten. I'm not sure if MMZZ does alternate, I think he does. And I'm pretty sure
I believe he's a single tap player, but I'm not entirely sure.
It's hard to say, but I would imagine that with mapping experience comes exposure to different styles of gameplay, just due to the nature of how volatile mapping can be at times.
Well, actually, those really weird maps, like with super awkward patterns, like lots of doubles and quad patterns and stuff like that, are actually a lot easier on single tap, because they are like the polar opposite on how to play them, depending on which hand they fall on during full alternate. So I'm not sure if that really will affect your playing if you map stuff like that, but it's possible. I'm not a very good mapper. I've only mapped like few maps, and it's mostly practice maps for specific skills, so it's possible. I'm not an expert in that regard.
Alright, Charles, you want to take that next question?
Sure. So, word around the block is you play hard rock a lot.
That is indeed correct.
So,
it's definitely my main.
What about hard rock do you like? Like, what like aspect of the game change does it makes it exciting for you?
I really like the increased OD. I think double S-ing maps on higher OD is super cool and just so satisfying. Back when I started playing Taiko, I really hated hard rock just because it increased the scrolling speed, and I could not react to that at all. My reaction time was terrible, my reading was totally off, But with time, I just played more and more hard rock. I got used to it, and nowadays I can read it no problem. So you get used to a lot of things. Just similar to how in standard there's people who only play AR10 and cannot read anything slower than that, and there's people who play easy mod and have trouble with higher ARs and stuff like that. So you just get used to what you do a lot. And I believe still the most fun aspect of hard rock is definitely the increased OD, since Taiko generally has very low OD on most maps, usually 5 or 6, which by the way is because Taiko maps are entirely circle based. So for example in standard you have lots of sliders and spinners, which are essentially 300s, but in Taiko every single node is something you can make an accuracy error on. And I really just enjoy having the higher OD to challenge me a bit more.
Do you find that hard rock makes some patterns easier to read?
Well, there's certainly some that are easier to read, but then again, you have to be practiced in hard rock to really get that effect, I believe. For example, the currently best German Taiko player, Mu104, is excellent at reading extremely slow speeds, super weird patterns, the most complicated of death streams, playing hidden on any slider velocity pretty much, but he's awful at hard rock because he's just never practiced it. So it's really just easy if you're used to it. And when I started playing hard rock, I was decently high ranked in Taiko back then. I could not even read a 160 BPM hard rock. Nowadays I can somewhat easily read like 220 BPM scroll plus hard rock. So yeah, it's just a matter of practice pretty much.
Sweet. I'm very bad at reading AR, and the people who can only read AR10 upset me greatly. Because they always say, why is this AR9? Make it AR10, and I'm like, no, I won't be able to play anymore.
In standard I've actually tried practicing hard rock recently, and it's killing me. I cannot read AR10 to save my life. Like, AR9 is fine, AR8 is great. I'm one of those old school players who actually like and enjoy AR8, but AR10 is just, oh no, please don't, keep it away from me.
I've actually gotten to the point where like I'm pretty comfortable around AR8 and up, and I can play the lower AR stuff, so I don't even really consider that, but I still have a lot of problems with AR10 myself.
I can kind of read AR10, like I can play some maps with it, but the maps that seem to have it tend to be above my skill level anyway.
Yeah, it's more of the movement for me with AR10, because there's such a delay reaction from my brain. Like, I see it, and I'm like, oh, I should probably get over there.
Yeah, the hardest part for me about AR10 is streams, because my brain just does not comprehend when a stream starts on AR10. I start playing, okay, I can aim decently well on AR10, I can keep somewhat decent accuracy on jumpy patterns, and then streams happen and my brain just lags and I hit way too late because there's suddenly more nodes on the screen at once and I just completely mess up my accuracy. So yeah, I still have to get used to that. I'm sure it'll happen sometime, but so far I've had little success with AR10.
Kind of one thing I always found hard with Taiko, I don't really have this issue with standard, but generally I find like when I miss one note, it just screws over my entire rhythm and I just mess up completely.
Yeah, that's a really huge thing, especially inside a stream. If I ever miss a note inside a long stream, I'm done for. There's little chance I'm getting back into that stream. There's some players who are actually good at getting back into streams, but to me that's one of the hardest things about Taiko. With single notes, like simple patterns, okay, I've played enough, getting back into the rhythm is easy enough, but once it's like a long stream, a single mistake can mean like death.
Generally I just wait out, generally I just wait for that pattern to end and then I'll just resume playing with the next one.
Well, it really depends on the map, on the speed of the map, kind of patterns. If it happens within a stream, I usually wait for like a second, try to find a good spot to start playing again. The thing with that is, due to hit windows, it's very possible that even if you think you know where you're starting, the hit you input gets registered for the node before, because hit windows are so large on most Taiko maps. Then that screws you up all over again. But for most simple patterns, yeah, I just miss like maybe half of the pattern or just a single node and I get back into it. But yeah, streams are terrible.
Hitting the object beforehand is a big problem in Standard and Mania. Mania on... Mostly it's a lower OD problem because the objects haven't gone away. But on a higher OD that problem is less prevalent. I remember in Standard people complain about low OD and how easy mod makes the game harder because it locks all of the notes that you're trying to click if you haven't pushed the other one properly yet.
Yeah, pretty much that's what's happening when you miss a single node in the Taiko stream. Because of node lock, you'll have lots of problems trying to find a spot where you can actually start back, hit the actual pattern. And I'm not sure why some people are so good at it, but I'm terrible at reading that kind of stuff.
I figured it might be a good idea to make a note lock practice map that's just a bunch of spam, and then you try and hit the first clear to see object right after the spam. And so the idea is you wait for the object to pass your hit cursor ever so slightly, so you'll get 100 on it, but you'll hit it.
Yeah, it would probably be quite handy to have. But yeah, even then you'd have to have varying maps depending on OD. Because on OD10, for example, okay, sure, it's pretty easy. I can get back into most streams on OD10. But if it's like OD5, like most Taiko maps, that's no. I have to hit so late just to hit the right node. It's terrible.
All right, and these next little lines of questions we have for you, Luna, I'm going to kind of combine a couple of them here because it's kind of to do with the Taiko World Cup. So just go ahead and correct any of this information if it is wrong. But we're going to assume that you started on the 3rd Taiko World Cup, if our information is correct. And what we basically want to know here is what made you want to take part in the World Tournaments?
Back during the 3rd World Cup, which I believe that's the first I joined. So that makes this year's the 3rd one I've joined. Back then there were still multiple teams per country. So back then I played in Germany Team B. Pretty much just because I wanted to try it out, I wanted to have some fun with some of the other players. We knew we wouldn't advance past group stage since only one German team would be allowed to advance past group stage, and Team A was by far stronger. But we just joined for the fun of it, did decently well. We didn't win a lot, but that wasn't to be expected since the team wasn't very strong back then. And during later years, I pretty much became one of the strongest players around in Germany, since others either quit or just stopped playing actively. So last year I pretty much was the strongest active German player, since the German Taiko legend Xai had already quit. New 104 had only just started playing the game and was still a bit worse than I was back then. So it was pretty much expected of me to join. And this year still I'm top 2 player of my country right now, of the active players at least. So it's pretty much expected of me to join. But it's fun, so I'm not complaining. And we're doing pretty well this year, so I'm happy about that.
Yeah, your team is looking quite strong, actually.
Well, our next opponent is Taiwan. They are 2-time world champions. It's gonna be pretty difficult, but we're gonna try to win. Our nemesis is actually Hong Kong, because I believe every single year Germany has been kicked out by Hong Kong in every single
Really?
World Cup I remember. Yeah, every single one.
That's kind of interesting, actually.
Yeah, and it always happened in the first round, I believe.
Ouch.
But now we're already past the first round, and Hong Kong is nowhere to be seen so far. Well, assuming we win against Taiwan and Hong Kong wins against Japan, we'd face them again. But both of those outcomes are somewhat unlikely. So maybe we'll meet in the loser bracket and they'll kick us out again.
Don't get yourself.
We'll do our best to prevent
You
that.
can do it.
Well, yeah, I hope so. But yeah, our luck with pairings during World Cups has not been the best, to be fair. Like, I believe every single year, at least one German team has had to face Japan and Hong Kong. And for reference, for those people who are not too familiar with taiko teams, last year Japan took first and Hong Kong took second place. So yeah, that's kind of unlucky, but well, we're mostly in it for the fun and not to prove something. So it's fine even if that happens again.
Yeah. And to kind of get on this last little bit of questions for the Taiko World Cup, obviously you seem like you're having a great time with the whole tournament. But do you still get nervous? Do you feel nervous when you're in the lobby waiting for the match to start and you guys are selecting your maps and everything, or is it more of a you get the nervous jitters when you know that it's being streamed?
Actually, I'd say personally one of my greatest strengths is that I do not really get nervous at all. For most of the matches so far, I've been super calm and played pretty consistently. Okay, I've had a few stupid misses, but for most of the matches I've played really well. Had good accuracy, full combo, pretty much everything. So I don't think nervousness is a big issue for me. I do know some players on my team have huge issues with that, but they're slowly overcoming that as well. Playing some more matches, they're getting used to the whole pressure thing, and lately they've been performing really well. And I think my team can be proud of them.
Sweet.
Yeah.
There's actually one more thing I want to quickly ask was on the Tag World Cup thing. We've seen a good few amount of troll warm-up picks being brought up.
Boy.
Can we expect any from Germany?
Well, we've already picked a troll warm-up map pretty much just to troll Lockturf because we knew he'd love this song.
Oh, what did you pick? What did you
Which
pick?
was Du hast den schönsten Arsch der Welt Nightcore Mix, which
Oh,
which
yes, I think I remember that
translates
actually.
to you have the world's most beautiful butt. Well, it's a bit more explicit than that, but that's the gist of it. And we knew Lockdeath would love that.
Yeah.
So,
Actually,
yeah.
no, yes, I think I do remember seeing that one actually. I actually
We
totally forgot about
conspired
that.
with the Ukrainian team, and we discussed in advance that they'd pick a gay bar and we'd pick that
Oh
map.
my
So
God.
that was kind of
That's
fun.
it, yes. Yeah, there was gay bar in that. Oh, that was so funny. I totally forgot about that.
Ooh, dude.
Yeah, that song, if I'm not mistaken, I've actually heard it in English, and it's basically you have the greatest ass in the world or something like that.
Right.
We- I
okay.
mean-
It's such a stupid song. It's super annoying, and the night comic just makes it doubly terrible.
There's been
it's
there's been
perfect
quite
for
the
map.
rise of inappropriate song lyrics in maps lately. I know a lot of the maps that you're picking out are quite old. Like if I recall, Gay Bar is an extremely old map. But we're seeing a lot of newer maps of that nature getting pretty popular, like Pensamento.
Yeah, the
Oh my
lyrics are
god,
actually
yeah.
kind
Don't
of
look
messed up.
don't look
I
up
read
the
them
lyrics
on
for
the,
that.
Just
Just keep playing the jumps. Just ignore what the guy's saying. Yeah, like I think I bubbled gigantic OTN without knowing how to pronounce OTN.
Yeah.
Anyway,
That map has so many. Well, that song is one big problem.
it is funny.
All right.
Although we've got some worse ranks, so
It is good to see the warm-ups being funny. I remember in the Mania, we had some folks pick out, what was it, Spooky Scary Skeletons? I mean, I know that was part of the actual roster, but these folks would turn on like Hidden or something. Or was it Flashlight? I would just play the warm-up
Yeah,
like
flashlight.
that. Yeah, they just play the warm-up with flashlight on.
Well, October
Actually,
Scream
we
played
had-
with flashlight regardless.
That is true. But not...
Have you
We
actually
actually
been
played
keeping up?
a warm-up match against China, where we just all picked flashlight as well. That was kind of funny. It wasn't even planned. They just picked a map. And our team just put on a flashlight, and then so did they, and we had a good
Nice.
time.
Charles, have you actually been keeping up with some of the warm-up picks from the Tao World Cup?
I am not very much of a Taiko person. Ever
they've been
since
hilarious.
the ranking criterion, which was touched up, changed to require a full spread of Taiko diffs, I haven't really been implementing Taiko diffs into my stuff, so I've been kind of out of the community.
We need to catch you up on some of them. They've been amazing. Just absolutely amazing.
Well, I can always go watch the recaps.
Oh, you should. They. Oh man.
Plug.
VODs are always nice. But anyways, I'll go ahead and wrap this up. It looks like
We are reaching 42
Charles
minutes.
Charles and Deadbeat, they're not wanting to take that last
Nope.
question. So
No, we were just continuing on from where we were. Dragging
Unless
it
you
out.
want me to take the question.
No, it's fine. I don't mind. It actually seems like from our discussion today here, Luna, that you enjoy all the game modes for the most part. Do you play all 4 of those actively, or do you just kind of switch between one every now and then?
Pretty much the latter. Well, there's always just periods of time where I get sick of Taiko or something like that, and just switch to standard for a month or two, or just exclusively play Osmania for a while, or just catch the beat, something like that. Pretty much just whatever I feel like. So it happens a lot that I just do not really play all that much Taiko and just rank up a bit every time my rank drops below 100, because I want to keep top 100. But yeah, it's pretty random when I pick which mode, but lately I've been playing a bit more Mania and Standard. I've been neglecting CTB a bit lately, but I'm probably gonna pick that up again. So I really enjoy playing all the modes, but it just depends on how my mood is, on which mode I'm actually gonna play.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, for Mania, do you play 4-key?
I actually play more 7-key than 4-key, but since the PP system is kind of weird, I still get most of my PP from 4-key maps.
What?
I've played
okay.
at least twice as much 7-key as I have played 4-key, and I believe only 2 of my top performance scores are 7-key.
Interesting.
It makes me sad.
Yeah, Deadbeat and I were thinking the same thing, because 4-key almost directly translates to the gameplay of Taiko. Just with different reading.
Yeah, pretty much 4-key is very similar to Taiko in terms of gameplay. 4-key is a bit harder to press than Taiko, because there's a lot more patterns that are impossible in Taiko, like 3 simultaneous notes and long notes, stuff like that. But on the flip side, it's a lot easier to read than Taiko. I believe pretty much the main difficulty of Taiko is reading, since everything is condensed into a single note stream. But with 4-key, I really didn't have any issues getting into it. I pretty much started playing HD and even MX diffs when I picked it up, so that kind of worked pretty well. So Taiko skill definitely transfers to 4-key,
Oh, yeah.
I believe.
I was actually thinking you'd play 4-key because of Step Mania more so than Taiko, but
Well, my one attempt at getting into Stepmania lasted about half an hour until I got frustrated because everything was super bugged, and I gave up and just said, okay, I'll stick with Osmania.
All right. And I've got one little side tangent here to ask. You said you've kind of been neglecting Catch the Beat here. I have to ask, what do you think of the new catcher?
I actually use old skin style 1, version 1, so I do not know how, what he looks like.
My
that
feels.
sigh of disappointment.
My
That sigh
feels.
of disappointment.
The artist
Sorry
struggle
about
over
that.
here, man. Oh, jeez.
It's all right though. the cool thing is though I could kind of put out that we will have him animated a lot sooner than later than I thought. Not too soon. It's just soon enough to where, like, when it does happen, you'll be like, oh, I remember hearing about that. Cool. So that's something. Yeah, that's something to look forward to. But anyways, Luna, I do want to thank you for coming out and taking some of your time today. I appreciate it, and we hope that you do excellent here in the Taiko World Cup. I'm going to be there watching you during the commentary, so hopefully you don't get creamed too hard.
Thanks a lot. I'll do my best.
I'm waiting for Germany to take this one. I got your back, man. You can do it.
Yeah, but, I mean, come on. We've seen some of those other people play, too. You can't just say that they're going to do. They're going to give it their best, but you got to, like, look at everything. Nobody knows exactly who's going to win, but you definitely know who's going to not go down easy.
You're supposed to be positive to all teams at the same time, so they try their best at the same time. So, you're going to win.
You try your
You can do it.
Yeah, you cheer each and every team, because then, no matter what, you're always right.
Oh, wow. If only betting on horse matches worked like that.
Yeah.
Well, you can always bet on Japan. I believe that's a pretty safe bet this year. The team is.
There are a lot of strong teams, to be honest. I'm not so sure if there are any definite.
How can we bet on Japan if you are going to bring your best game to the table?
That's still better, but yeah, we'll do our best. Try to beat Taiwan, so we hopefully get to face Japan, beat them as well, and easily take the World Cup.
Yeah,
that's the plan right now.
Everybody said betting on Italy was a bad idea, and I got a pizza out of it.
Whoa.
So
hey, I didn't. I was.
They still didn't advance, did they?
They didn't advance, but they won that one match. That one match.
Oh, yeah.
They won the one that
does
counted.
have some pretty good players, and they did admittedly get the group of death with all the strongest teams. I'm really happy we did not get seeded into that group, because yeah, that's pretty cruel. Like, Japan, France, Argentina, Canada, Italy. Oh wow, like, that's a cruel group.
Like,
luck of the drafting.
Doesn't that make you feel just a little bit like when you're sitting there and you got to see the lineups for the first time? Did you have like a sigh of relief and you're like, oh, thank you, Jesus, we're not in there?
Pretty much during the initial like seeding process and everything, I was like, first I was really happy that we were a top seed team, so that means we're probably gonna get an easier group. And then during the actual selection of groups, when I saw like how strong that one group was getting, I was pretty happy we didn't get put in there. Yeah, I believe our group was reasonable. We did lose to China, but okay, we only have ourselves to blame for that. Pick strategy was pretty bad. Well, China played well, so that's okay. And I think we can be happy with our group. France, of course, did get a way harder group than they deserved, but they made it out well in second place. So I'm hoping the rest of the tournament will go smoothly for everyone. Yeah, it's been really fun, and I'm looking forward to the final rounds.
Now, before Zitra closes it out, I do want to stuff in one last question, if you have an answer to it. Do you have a favorite Taiko mapper?
Actually, I do. Well, pretty much there's like 2 god level Taiko mappers, which is TKS and LOL Cubes, and both of them just produce the best maps you have ever seen in Taiko. I do not know how they do it, but so consistently, just everything they do is awesome. I do not think they have produced any bad Taiko maps, except for one that LOL Cubes mapped like way before he started playing Taiko.
Alright.
But yeah, since he started playing Taiko, everything he does is like flawless. It's impeccable. I cannot express like, how good his maps are.
LOL Cube is amazing at mapping for both Taiko and standard. I played the standard maps, and they're just amazing. They really are.
Alright, well, we're going to go ahead and close this up, but remember guys, if you're interested in the Taiko World Cup, the 2015 coverage is going to be continuing throughout the month. It happens every Saturday and Sunday. During the weekends, we are going into the quarterfinals, if I'm not mistaken. And that's going to be this weekend, and then next weekend will be the semifinals, and then the final weekend will be the finals. And you can find all that information on the wiki. And this is everybody from the O's Talk signing off. And remember, Rhythm's only a click away, and we'll see y'all real soon.
Goodbye.
Laters.
Bye.